Welcome, welcome, Paralympic fans. We are on day one here of the Paralympic Winter Games, and we are at the Ice Cube. That is the National Aquatic Centre, sometimes called the Water Cube. And we've frozen all the ice for this week so that we can play curling here at Paralympic Winter Games. The teams will shortly be welcomed onto the ice. They have done their pre-game practice. And oh boy, do we have a cracker for this first game on day one. We have the traditional Scottish pipes welcoming the teams.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and today
welcome to this session
we have a
of
corker for you.
curling.
We will be watching People's Republic of China playing Canada.
Let's give a round of applause
And if you're
to this session's competing
less familiar
team.
with Paralympic curling, then the teams we are watching, China, they won gold at the previous Paralympics in Pyeongchang. And Canada, they won every other gold in Paralympic curling since its first appearance in 2006. So what a cracker we have here. So let us say hi to our competing teams. We have lead thrower for China is Yan Zhou
versus Canada.
We have second thrower Zhang Mingliang. Third thrower is Chen Yanxin.
Versus United States of America.
And quite a legend in para-curling is Wang Haitao, skip and fourth thrower for China. And they have a tricky matchup in this first day. Second thrower is Dennis Thiessen for Canada. Fourth thrower is John Thurston.
Games will begin shortly.
Third thrower is Ina Forrest. And lead thrower and skip is Mark Iverson. So these teams will know each other very well. Everybody wishing each other good curling. Fist bumps all round. We would not be surprised to see these teams back again in the semi-finals. You can see there, that's all the teams that we'll be watching this week. There are 11 teams. They all qualified by accumulating points from the previous World Wheelchair Curling Championships. And these are the top teams. So there's confirmation of the team representing China today. They will be throwing red stones.
Games will begin in 1 minute. Wheels may be cooled. Good luck and good
here
curling.
comes Canadian team. They will be throwing yellow stones, wearing light uniforms. First game then of this Paralympic Winter Games for wheelchair curling. Not though the first Paralympic experience for our athletes out there. As we said, this Chinese team, well, two of them, Wang Haitao and Chen Yanxin, they won the gold medal 4 years ago in Pyeongchang. And Canada, featuring several of the players on the ice, they won every other gold up to that. So we can expect a tasty encounter here.
A little more, right? Yeah. Okay.
It's Canada to throw first. China have last stone in this first end.
But I didn't mind the field. Yeah. Not slow though? Yeah. 13 1/4. Need it back? It's slick.
First stone away in this round robin encounter between Canada and China. Mark Iverson throws lead stones, first stones, and he is also the skip of this team. So Ina Forrest, she's holding the brush, she's the vice skip. Well, that's a pretty handy start there for Canada. Straight to the forefoot. China have a couple of choices here for the first stone of Yan Zhou. And nice start for her. That's the more conservative approach. The aggressive approach would have been to put a couple of guards out front, use that free guard zone. We'll come back to explain that. But not unusual to see teams being fairly conservative in the first end. They just want to kind of feel how the ice is going, get a feel for things, and maybe not have too many stones in play at this early stage. They don't want to accidentally give up a big end right at the beginning, so we may see some conservative tactics here. I'm sure Mark Iverson will be quite happy to just have another throw to the forefoot, another throw to the house, as we call it. That's the rings. And you'll see the players, several of them will have a stopwatch out. And Mickey's even better this time. Really nice shot from Mark Iverson. The players have their stopwatch out and they will be timing how long the stone takes between the two hog lines. So that's the two thick red horizontal lines that we'll see shortly. And that gives the teams an idea of how slick the ice is, how fast the ice is running. Ice changes from day to day. So the second throw, there's the hog line, the big thick horizontal line. And another nice tidy take out from Yeonjo.
13. Nice and positive.
You heard Canadian skip Mark Iverson there saying
13 and a quarter.
13 and a quarter. He's communicating the hog-to-hog time. There you can see Dennis Thiessen, first throw for him in this Paralympic Games.
Nice throw, Dennis.
And he will be aiming for that stone to take 13 or just over 13 seconds to pass between the two hog lines. So it looks like the ice is pretty slick out there. And that's just overrunning slightly. You heard Ina Forrest saying she got 12.4 between the hog lines for that. So yeah, just not too much faster, but what a difference it made. So it looks like the ice is pretty slick out there. You can see our volunteer on the left side there. In wheelchair curling, you typically have volunteers both to clean the stone before the players throw it and to tidy up the stones at the other end as well to keep things moving. So now it's China's turn to have a bit of practice at draw weight. Is that going to hang around? Oh, I think it does. Yeah, a little happy giggle from China there. If any part of the stone is touching the rings, that is counted as in. And indeed, looks like Canada think it's in. And they will go to remove this one. In wheelchair curling, as we said in the first end, you often see conservative tactics in wheelchair curling and non-wheelchair curling. But I would say overall, in wheelchair curling, you do often see somewhat more conservative tactics. And we'll get back to why. But cagey stuff out there from China and from Canada in this first end. Not surprising. The gold medalists from last time versus the gold medalists every time since. Wheelchair curling making its debut in the 2006 Games in Torino. Another chance for second thrower from China. Zhang Minliang. This looks nicer. Has it got enough beams though? Not quite, but that could be useful later. A corner guard when you don't have last stone. That could be a useful stone.
8.5, fine.
Our first look then at Anna Forrest from Canada. She's a bit of a legend in Canadian curling and wheelchair curling. She's in the Canadian Curling Hall of Fame. And she has represented Canada at every single Paralympics. So a deep breath from Aina. The stone's coming in hot. I think this is trying to remove that dangerous guard. And just over curled for Aina a little bit there. And you can see that's exactly the little half shot that China were looking for. That's why that guard was dangerous to Canada. As you can see, it doesn't matter to China whether that guard is red or yellow. Either way, they can come round it. So first stone of this game for third thrower, Chen Yanxin.
Whoa!
So this is definitely not a take out, but as we noticed, the ice is quite slick out there, even in this first end. Sometimes the ice can be a little bit slower in the first end, just until you run a few stones over it. But the ice looks pretty fast out there, and that stone just slipping through for China.
Are you thinking because it's, yeah.
I had you just good to a little tight, right?
Canada then will have another chance to remove that guard. We can see that guard's dangerous for Canada. Neither team wanting to lose a big end here in this first game of the Paralympic Winter Games.
Good throw, Anna. Like that throw a lot.
Nice shot.
So it sounds like this is having a better path. There we are. She's not likely to miss it twice, Anna Forrest, and I think she's even going to roll out herself. Not quite, but you can see that yellow on the right of our screen. That's not going to be any good. So big smile from Anna Forrest. Good throwing from her. You can see that yellow now on the left of our screen. That's so wide that I don't think you would be able to hide very much of any stone behind it if you're China. And indeed, they're just ignoring it. It's not helpful for them.
What? 12.8，这行。下一个来。
And that's better from Chen Yanxin. Both teams finding their T weight. That's the weight to get a stone to the T line. That's the horizontal line through the rings. Just in front of Mark Iverson's brush there, that's the T line. And both teams doing pretty well early in this game at finding that T weight. First throw then for fourth thrower John Thurston from Canada. He's new in the team for this Olympic cycle, this Paralympic cycle, John Thurston.
Good to
big thrower.
Nice and positive. Good throw, John.
That sounded like Mark Iverson was pretty happy as soon as he saw that released, and indeed, nice clean takeout from John Thurston. I'm sure even though these are very experienced players, all of them out there, I'm sure there must be a little bit of nerves to play your first game in any Paralympics in a new venue and new competition. And it's always reassuring, it always calms your nerves a bit to just get your first couple of stones under your belt. The great Wang Haitao. What a servant he has been to Chinese curling. His first stone of these Beijing Paralympic Games. Cracker. And you can hear applause from the crowd. We're not able to have foreign fans in the venue this time. But we have our local Chinese fans, and they're pretty happy with how their team started. last stone then in this first end for Canada and John Thurston.
Good to nice and full, John. Nice throw.
Mark Iverson again sounds happy with it. And really nice throw from John Thurston. He'll be happy that that stone just rolled a little bit to our left there. That just changes the path for China. They won't get to throw exactly the same stone again. And let's see what China does here. There's a couple of choices for them, and let's see what they do. Last stone of the first end. For Wang Hatao. And he does take the point there. So that's one red stone at the end of the conclusion of this end. One red stone in the rings closest to the middle, and that's 1 point for China. Confirmation there after the first end. China with last stone, they lead 1 point to 0 against Canada.
Second look, yeah.
Conservative start there from both teams then. China with last stone in that first end, picking up 1 point against Canada. And yeah, very conservative stuff. There was no chance for China really to score 2 points in that end. And that's not surprising. These teams between them have won every single gold medal for wheelchair curling at Paralympic Games. So not surprising, they're very respectful of each other, playing pretty conservatively initially. Canada then, they have the hammer, the last stone advantage in the second end. And that's a lovely start from Yan Zhou. So they can talk a little bit about the specialities of wheelchair curling while Canadians
get... touch more wouldn't hurt.
Mark Iverson is throwing his first stone. If you're familiar with curling from the Olympics, the most obvious difference is that there is no sweeping in wheelchair curling. So once this stone is released from Mark Iverson, that's it. You maybe saw in the Olympics that there was a ton of sweeping in those games. And that just tells us how accurate these throwers have to be here in wheelchair curling, because there's nobody to sweep it once it's gone. And there's the first little half shot there from Canada. He does make contact, but that didn't curl. You just heard Mark Iverson saying there, that didn't curl as much as he thought it would. So he makes contact, but not enough to remove that red. The lack of sweeping then, no sweeping allowed in wheelchair curling, and that immediately makes it harder, because once that stone's on its way, that's it. There's nothing you can do to affect it. We know that the sweeping from the Olympics, the sweeping can drag the stone a bit further if it's a little slow, or you can change the direction. You can sweep it either to curl or you can sweep it to stay straight. And not possible in wheelchair curling. That's lovely stones from Chinese lead Yan Zhou. Really nice stuff from her. Yeah, the local crowd very happy with that result. And this is immediately putting pressure on Canada in this second end. Canada have last stone here in this second end. And they will be wanting to try to build some points. So you can see that end one was a lovely demonstration of scoring 1 point with last stone. You put a stone in, opposition hits you out. You put a stone in, opposition hits you out, etc. And then you can pick up 1 stone with your, sorry, you can pick up 1 point with your 1 last stone. That's a better throw from Mark Iverson. Removes one of those Chinese counters. First end was really nice demonstration of scoring 1 point with 1 last stone. Now you can imagine if we do that for all 8 ends of this wheelchair curling match, you will end up with a score of 4 each. And we would in fact go to an extra end, but tactics-wise, if you want to win the game of curling, then you have to mix it up a bit. You want to try to score more than 1 point. And this is good stuff from China. Really nice throw again from Jiang Wenliang, second thrower. And let's say hi to the Chinese bench. That's Yu Qing-shuang. She played with the Chinese ladies team for a while.
Good throw.
Dennis Thiessen's first throw in the second end for Canada. That's a very typical setup for wheelchair curling delivery. And he, gosh, he's got the double. That's a great shot from Dennis Thiessen. Really nice stuff there. Mick Lismore is the Canadian coach. He'll be happy with that shot. Let's look at that one again. Really nice stuff there. And as we said, no sweeping allowed, so you can tell how difficult it is to be absolutely on target for a double takeout like that. Really good stuff from him.
Go!
Nice again from China. China don't really need
do a whole lot here.
take risks here. They don't need to be aggressive. It's Canada with last stone. They want to try to score more than the sort of default 1 point. You can score 1 point, typically, with your 1 last stone. So if you do have last stone, you're really trying to score more than 1. And you can only score more than 1 point if you get a mistake from your opposition. So you're trying to make it hard for your opposition. You're trying to tempt mistakes from them. And that's true for wheelchair curling and foot curling, non-wheelchair. That's always the same tactic. But there are important differences between wheelchair curling and non-wheelchair curling. And the other important one other important difference is that in wheelchair curling, all of these players out there, they're only using their upper body strength. And if you were maybe watching the Olympics a couple of weeks ago, almost all of the power for a non-wheelchair player comes from your leg drive. And for these players, all of their power comes from the upper body strength. And that's another big difference that makes wheelchair curling just that bit more difficult. But you wouldn't know it to watch the play so far. Really accurate stuff. Both teams really not willing to be aggressive and take this game on at the moment. It's only the second end. In wheelchair curling, we play 8 ends. And neither team really willing to take risks. They don't want to accidentally lose a big end with 2 or 3 points at this stage. First throw in the second end for Canadian vice skip Ina Forrest. Just trying to remove that Chinese counter. Sounds like everybody was fairly happy with it.
Throw, not enough ice.
Mark Iverson says it wasn't enough ice, but she's done enough to spin that out. Nice shot, Ina. And you can see that the third obvious difference between wheelchair curling and non is you can see each of the throwers has that big long stick. They're about 2 meters long typically, and they have that little adjustable handle at the end there. That's what puts the curl onto the stone, either clockwise or anti-clockwise.
来了。
13秒8。
Yeah.
All right.
And in non-wheelchair curling, you drive out of the hack using your leg drive, but if you've maybe come out a little bit too fast or a little bit too slow, you can use your arm to make an adjustment.
9.
But if you're a wheelchair curler, then you get one push. You can't adjust anything. You have one push with that 2 meter stick, a stick delivery, and that's it. So that, again, makes it that little bit tougher for wheelchair athletes to be accurate. So there are those 3 big points that make it just more difficult to be accurate when you're a wheelchair curler. But yeah, you wouldn't really know it to be watching this game so far. Both of these teams have picked up all the gold medals available since wheelchair curling was introduced to Paralympic Games.
7. Okay.
Oh, the pile again, eh?
That was weird because it like I honestly thought you had missed it.
I thought I missed it too.
And it just came right.
The standard going up all the time in wheelchair curling. Back in the early days, you would even see a mixture of some people would deliver using the stick, and some people would still just throw using their arm in their hand. They would just lean over and hang onto the stone and throw it that way. But the technology always evolving. And you see all the players now with the stick delivery. Accurate stuff from Hong Hai Tao.
Okay, right on the nose. Last ice, then Dennis.
Now, because of those differences that we've mentioned, so you don't have any sweepers, you're using only upper body strength, and you've only got one push with your delivery. Can't adjust delivery once it's on its way like you can in non-wheelchair. There's a nice demonstration there from fourth rower John Thurston from Canada. And because of those key differences, that is why you would tend to see more conservative tactics in wheelchair curling. As we can see, there's a lot of hits, a lot of takeouts going on. Neither team really wants to have a lot of stones in the house at this early stage. And that's because of those key differences. It is just simply more difficult to be accurate if you're a wheelchair thrower. And that leads to slightly more conservative tactics. The team's maybe less willing to be aggressive, less ready to take a risk, because it's high risk, high reward, and because of those differences that make it just that bit tougher to be accurate if you're a wheelchair player, then that can lead to more conservative tactics here. It's always fun to watch the Chinese team. They've always roared the stone down the ice. Even though there aren't sweepers to shout at, but they're shouting, roaring the stone itself down the ice, and why not? That's what everyone else does. Always fun to watch the Chinese team, very demonstrative team. And now we're having very similar conclusion to this end as we had in the first end. But this time it's Canada who has the last stone. You can just see just the end of that stick for the delivery stick there for John Thurston. Just slips over the handle and then puts either clockwise or anti-clockwise curl on the stone. And makes contact, John Thurston, and that Canadian rock is going to hang around as well.
Sorry.
You hear John Thurston saying sorry.
Yeah.
And
you guys think of line?
What he means is that they were actually looking for a blank, but confirmed there that a score of 1 yellow to Canada, and that brings the score after 2 ends to 1 each.
对啊对。
你看我这新鲜13.8都可以。
So we can already check in on the numbers for the game. The statistics, each stone is scored out of 4. We'll come back to that. And China just edging Canada at the moment with their accuracy. We've seen a couple of half shots from Canada, but early days yet. So after 2 ends then, very tight affair out there as we would expect. China and Canada, it is 1 point each after 2 ends. So as you were, score is 1 each in this 3rd end. Canada are leading us off. Mark Iverson, skip and lead thrower for Canada. As we said, both teams doing pretty well, finding a good draw weight. A draw is a stone that will land in the house, in the rings there. I'm not sure why we call it a house, because clearly it doesn't really look like a house, but you will hear curlers talking about there's 2 or 3 stones in the house. That means in those rings. Now, curling was invented before the metric system, so you will also hear people talking about the 12-foot ring. Oh. China rolling that stone down, but couldn't quite hold its line there. And that stays in the 12-foot circle. That's the blue circle. You'll hear curlers talking about the 12-foot circle, the blue one. The 8-foot circle is the white one. And the 4-foot circle is the red one. So making contact, but that stone just over curling a little bit for China there. And that's about their first mistake we've seen from China. So can Canada take advantage of that a little bit? Now, the colours of the rings are just to help your eyes. They're not worth more points if you get closer. It's simply the number of stones closer. The different colours are just to help you gauge how close the stone is to the centre. So, chance for Canada here. Mark Iverson with his 2nd throw. This is looking really nice. This is looking nice.
Nice throw, Mark.
That is a nice throw from Mark Iverson. Really good stuff there. And remember, no sweeping allowed, so to sneak a stone in and really bury it behind that stone in the front 12-foot circle, very difficult without sweepers. That's good work from Young Zhou. Removes one of the Canadian counters and leaves that Chinese stone hanging around in that front ring. Good throw from her. That's good work from her. China again have last stone in this 3rd end, as they did in the first. We play 8 ends in wheelchair curling. We throw all the stones in one direction. Both teams throw all of their stones in one direction. That's 1 end. And then we turn around and throw them all back the other way. And once you've thrown all the stones towards the end 8
really
times,
like to throw.
that's 8 ends.
Yes.
行，可以。
6号 ，Hurry！
Chinese second thrower
没问题，没问题。
Zhang Mingliang rolling the stone down and does its job.
Oh.
Smiles all round. Yeah, really nice throw from him. Another thing, viewers, that you will have noticed is that we are talking about him and her, she and he.
I like 13.
And one of the rules for wheelchair curling is that each team must have a member of both genders. So you must have one woman and one man in the team. That's the rule.
Nice throw.
So all of the teams that we'll be watching this week, you will see a mix of men and women in the team. You must have one man and one woman, and then the rest of your team members can be of either gender. That's nice throwing again from Dennis Thiessen. He's having a really strong start to this game. So you can hear that curling, very inclusive sport.
Whoa!
It definitely works for China, doesn't it? Rolling the stone down the ice. They're playing really tidily at the moment. Good work again from Zhang Mingliang. Yeah, curling very inclusive. We have all the teams here have men and women in the team as part of the rules. And while at this level, we do play separately, so you have wheelchair curling and non-wheelchair curling at the Olympics a couple of weeks ago. At this level, we do play separately, but at club level, everyone plays together. So if you're a wheelchair user or you have a friend or colleague who's a wheelchair user and you would like to try curling, you absolutely can. You don't need to find a specialist wheelchair curling club. Just contact your local curling club.
That rock just curls.
And everybody plays together. At club level, wheelie, non-wheelie, men and women, everyone can play together in the same team. So if you're a wheelie user or you have a friend or colleague and you'd like to try, you absolutely can. It's a really inclusive sport. Also, even if you're maybe not a wheelchair user, but maybe you have more limited mobility in your legs or your knees, there are also non-wheelchair users who do use stick delivery as well. So don't let that put you off either. Curling really is for everyone. And that little stone from Chen Yanxin, just going to hang on. Yeah, at the club level, it doesn't really make a difference if you're a wheelie user or not. And you can all play together. So yeah, do go ahead and reach out to your local curling club. They will have the delivery stick. They will be able to provide that for you. And sometimes we get the question, do the players have special sport wheelchairs? And the answer is no. Oh, and unlucky there for Einar Forrest. That Chinese stone just hanging on there. And again, a little half chance for China now to put some pressure on.
I think it's straighter side though.
Yeah, that's a straighter side.
What's that?
The players just use their regular day-to-day wheelchair. We make sure we clean the wheels before they go on the ice so that we don't get any little specks of dirt or so on the ice. But yeah, that's their regular chair that they use. There's nothing to stop you if you wish to have a particular wheelchair for sport. And as far as I understand, in curling there's no particular advantage, and that's also not needed.
14秒吧，稍小一点。
行行行。
So that stone not travelling as far as they wanted, but you can see the line was really nice. It is still in front of that red.
Top button.
Canada then
13
having
and a quarter.
to switch gears a little bit.
先选呀。
Not so easy to play a takeout now. So this should get another few stones in play for us viewers. This will be the first draw shot then for fourth thrower from Canada, John Thurston. A draw shot is one that you want to land in the rings in the house. This is coming in a little bit strong, but it does have that Chinese stone at the back. But no, that's really gripped the ice there. Nice work from John Thurston, yeah, nice stone there.
Yeah, back.
It's China that have last stone in this third end. So 2 stones to come from China, 1 only from Canada, and that's a really good stone from John Thurston. That's putting some pressure now on China.
来，我走。
So big shot here for Wang Haitao.
大一点啊！
行。
我
我。
好点儿。这不算是。
Great stone there from Wang
Really
Haitao.
like the throw, John. Same weight.
Ja.
China have qualified 3 times for
Half a broom left.
curling in Winter Paralympic Games, and Wang Haitao has represented China every time. Even on their debut, the Chinese team in 2014, they played for the bronze medal against Great Britain. They ended up 4th, but what a debut in Paralympic Winter Games. And as we said last time in 2018, it was this Chinese team, well, it was Wang and Chen from this Chinese team, they won the gold. So a similar idea from John Thurston, and ran on a little bit further than his first one, but that will still put pressure on China. Hard to remove that yellow stone without squirting it back onto the red stone. There you can see the angle isn't very kind. If you wanted to come around on this clockwise handle, so the stone curling clockwise direction, then if you touch that yellow, it's just going to go straight back onto that red, and that's why that's a nice shot from Canada there. Doesn't look like there's a shot for 2 for China, and that's what Canada were trying to force. So we can see the traditional setup for wheelchair thrower. There you can see the thrower is ready.
行了，线路没问题。
You typically have your teammate holding your wheels behind just to stop you from slipping.
我摆到一，摆到一来，2，向前 ，Go Go 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 Go， 再稍微点点。
That's nice from Wang Haitao. As we saw, no possibility to score 2 points there. That yellow just going straight back onto the red. But not an easy shot to score 1 point, and 1 point it is. And that makes a overall score after 3 ends. That's 2 points to China, 1 to Canada.
Did you feel like you threw it the same? Yeah.
And if we look at the overall numbers, we can see Canada catching up there on the numbers. They were starting to put a bit more pressure on China there, but yeah, the numbers pretty much the same. That's what we'd expect for these 2 giants of the game. end then. We're just going to start the fourth end, and the score after 3 ends is 2-1 to China over Canada. The points going with last stone so far. Neither team really taking this game on quite yet.
hả?
？Throw over China. Yanzhou.
Oh.
She's having a pretty nice game so far.
Whoa. Oh.
It's just overrunning a little bit.
Sure.
But indeed, yeah, that is hanging on. If any part of the stone is in the rings, that stone is counting.
15, eh?
We play 8 ends in wheelchair curling. So after this fourth end, there will be a half-time break. And this is good to see, though. So that stone just behind Ina Forrest there, that stone is in the rings, but it's way at the back of the house, the back of the rings. And looks like Canada have decided to switch it up and be a little bit more aggressive in this fourth end. That's what we viewers like to see. And that's a bit more aggressive. That's a nice guard there from Mark Iverson. You can see it's a bit of a distance from the rings there. But that should give China something different to think about. China, they will be quite happy to continue playing towards the centre of the ice. And Canada will be quite happy to play away from the centre. And that's because the easiest way to score points, if you're Canada with last stone, we'll come back to that, but I think we might just have seen free guard zone violation. So you'll see now the umpire and the volunteer are putting that stone back. That was a mistake from Zhang. No, sorry, that's our lead thrower is Yunzhou. She was just trying to make the draw, but the stone had hung out a little bit. So that's gone back to how it was before she threw. The reason for that is that yellow stone, it is currently protected by free guard zone. And the free guard zone is all of that white space in front of the rings.
Got lots of room to go around it.
Between the hog line, the thick red horizontal line, and the rings, that's free guard zone. And you're not allowed to remove a stone from play, either on purpose or by mistake. You're not allowed to remove a stone from play until we've thrown 5 stones. And because that was just the second stone at the end, and that was a little mistake from Yanzhou, the stones are replaced as they were before she threw that stone. And that's why you'll see teams, if they want to play more aggressively, like Canada did with that first stone, looks like this is travelling a nice similar path. So both of those stones, that Canadian stone, I think they wanted that in the house, in the rings, but I don't mind a double guard. And both of those stones are still protected by free guard zone. We've only thrown 4 stones just now. China not allowed to remove either of those yellow guards. You can move them around. You can punch them a little bit further away or something like that, but you cannot remove them from play. And looks like China just needed to keep the play away from those dangerous guards. Oh, that's great effort from Zhang Mingliang. The Chinese couldn't quite roar that stone into the rings. And that was the 5th stone, so that means that free guard zone is now finished. And that means that Canada are allowed to start removing stones from that area. statistics in wheelchair curling. Typically, statistics are helpful for understanding where maybe you have a gap in your game. If maybe there's one part of your game is consistently a little bit lower in the statistics, then that's maybe where your homework needs to be, like to do a little bit of training on that aspect. And don't be put off, viewers, that the statistics in wheelchair curling are typically a little bit lower than in non-wheelchair curling, and we mentioned several reasons why it is simply harder. If you're only using your upper body strength, you don't have any sweepers, and you cannot adjust your throw. There we are, one push and the stone's away.
Whoa, whoa,
But yeah, by no means think that wheelchair curling is a bit less good than non-wheelchair. What a result that is for second thrower Zhang Bingliang. Yeah, big smiles and clap for that one. He not only removed the Canadian guard and took out the little catch on the other one, he managed to spin himself in as well. Here we are, let's look at that again. What a nice shot. So that was the object, was remove that corner guard. That's the dangerous one. He gets a nice little redirect here. And for an encore, spins himself in. So things are a little bit difficult for Canada now. They've got last stone. And all of those Chinese counters are in the 12-foot ring, the blue one. So there's still plenty of space, but there are 3 Chinese counters in there. And that always makes a bit of pressure. Canada do still have that one guard. There we are, Dennis Thiessen coming around that guard. That's a super shot from Dennis Thiessen. Really nice stuff there. He's cancelled out all 3 of those Chinese shots with that one throw. And Canada back on track to try to score 2 points in this 4th end. Great stuff from Dennis Thiessen. There, that's a lovely angle. See how that's just about buried behind that yellow. And it's got the red stone for backing, and it's closer to the middle than all 3 of those Chinese stones. Oh! The Chinese urging that stone to hold its line, and it just touched by millimeters that guard, so the guard doing its job for Canada. But this is the opportunity that Canada were waiting for or looking for.
I think 1275.
Yeah.
If you want to score more than 1 point with your one last stone,
it. You need full 12.
you will need a mistake from your opposition, and that is the mistake from China that Canada were waiting for. And now you can see that they have an opportunity to get a second Canadian stone in. So big throw here for Ina Forrest. It's her first draw of the game. She's played all takeouts so far. The takeout's a
Really good behind.
big throw to remove a stone, and this is Ina Forrest's first stone to stay in the house, in the rings. She does have backing, but she doesn't need it. And that's lovely. You can see 1, 2 Canadian stones are currently closest to the centre. And the centre really nice and clear for John Thurston's final stone. This end going very nicely now for Canada after a little bit of a slippy start, but just that one little clip shot from China, just clipping that guard with their previous stone, and you can see what a big difference that makes. Super shot from Dennis Thiessen to set them up. China falls into the trap and catches the guard, and now Canada in a really nice position in this 4th end. That's nice from China. They were urging the stone to roll just a little bit more, but that's a pretty nice result there from Chen Yanxin. Removes that stone. The Canadian counter not far off rolling right in front of the second Canadian shot. And he has moved the play back over towards that other Canadian zone, so Canada have to be careful. That red that they want to remove quite close to the yellow, that makes it more difficult.
Good to ANI.
Just like that. So
8-6.
Ina Forrest, she gets the first objective. She does remove that Chinese shot that was closest to the middle, but as you can see, she did catch the yellow behind, as we thought could be a danger. So Canada currently lying shot. Their stone's closest to the middle, but again, a whole bunch of Chinese counters just hanging around. Canada will be very relieved that they have last stone in this fourth end. And there's still plenty of space for them with their last stone, but they will be a little bit concerned about these Chinese stones hanging around at the back. Huge throw from Wang Haitao, and that hasn't worked out for him. Just that extra bit of weight meant the stone stayed a little bit straighter, so the faster you throw a stone, the less it will curl. And we can see there, he really wanted that stone to curl a little bit more and just punch that yellow through the gap. And just that bit of extra weight. He's a huge chap, is Wang Haitao, and that little bit extra weight means the stone didn't curl so much, and that didn't quite work out. So let off for Canada.
12.75.
They have another chance to put a second stone in play. John Thurston being asked to put a second Canadian counter in the house. This looks really nice.
Really good, John. Nice throw, John.
But that is a really nice throw from John Thurston. We can see far apart from the other yellow. The further stones are apart, the harder it is for a double takeout to remove both of them. And that yellow sitting just in front of the Chinese red. And we could see that that caught China out last time. They did crash around on those Chinese stones in the back. Great shot from John Thurston, and Canada still looking really nice to pick up 2 points in this end. So this has to be good from Wang Haitao just before half-time. And he doesn't want to lose, certainly doesn't want to lose any more than 2. What's happened again? Oi, oi, oi. Goodness. So we can see how dangerous those stones are at the back, just to catch stones flying around.
3/4. Okay, we'll hit it. 8.5. There.
That is unlucky for Wang.
8.5, 9, 8.5. Yeah, 8.5.
A little bit out of nowhere then. Canada even have a shot for 3 points. They've been working very hard to give themselves a chance at 2, and now they did get a miss from Wang Haitao, and now they have a chance for 3, and that will be a huge score at this stage in the game. Huge chance for Canada and John Thurston. I know, saying it looks nice. That That is a lovely shot from John Thurston. Look at that. Cool as you like. And that is a big score of 3 for Canada in that 4th end. Really well worked end there from Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
Put a bit of pressure on China, got a couple of mistakes. And that makes the score at this half-time after 4 ends. Canada lead China 4 points to 2. Our local curling fans. No foreign fans at these games, but you can see that young lady looks like she has a Shui Ronron. Her sister saying, look, look, you're on the screen with your little mascot. Shui Ronron, she's the little mascot for these Paralympic Winter Games. There she is. At half-time then, we have the stats for China there. So they had a really bright start to the game, but they just had a couple of mistakes slipping in there in the 4th end.
好不好？就别跟他再打得特别腻，这单没力就不跟他往中间腻，就及时清就行。
哎呦我这个那个我只有基本没像。
And there's the numbers for Canada. They had a couple of misses in the first few ends, but really strong 4th end for them.
Inside out, going away. It's a straight? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So kind of climbing there.
Yeah. And just, you know, player tendencies interacting with that further.
The one I flashed here, that was full. But I thought it was going to come down off the hill. So.
Yeah, I think you can just trust to give you that turn, just a touch less and throw it the way through, right? Because it's holding the line, it's got plus rotation on it. So. Good one.
And there's the overall numbers. You can see Canada just creeping ahead a little bit now. They had really strong stones in that 4th end. And China just had a couple of slip-ups. Oh, and there's someone else who has a little Shui Ronron. She's happy to be watching the curling as well. You'll see Shui Ronron, the little red mascot there. You'll see her all over the place this week. She's supporting all the sports. So a little powwow at half-time. The lady on the right of your screen there, that is Yu Jingshuang, and well worth listening to her words of advice. She plays in the Chinese ladies team.
然后呢，注意自己的这个感觉就行啊。来，
Been the coach of this team for a few years, including when they have won gold medals at the World Championship as well as in the previous Paralympic cycle. So really, this Chinese team are very much the team to beat this week. All the teams here qualified cumulatively from previous World Championships. There's the overall score going into the second half of this game, into the fifth end. Canada lead China 4 points to 2.
Above 75?
Yep.
So we're in the second half of this round robin match on day 1 here at the Ice Cube at the Paralympic Winter Games. We are watching China, previous gold medal winners at the previous Paralympics in Pyeongchang, versus Canada, previous gold medal winners of every other Paralympic Games. And Canada continuing their good form into the second half, picking up a huge score of 3 in that fourth end.
5-8, yeah. You can't get a good read off right.
Wow, we're good. What's hard
Statistics are very much a guide, really, to show where there could be gaps in your game. Each stone is... That's nice work from the Chinese lead there. Each stone is marked out of 4. If you play it perfectly, you will get 4 out of 4. If you miss completely, you will get 0 out of 4, and so on. And because of the particular differences between wheelchair and non-wheelchair curling, the statistics are typically lower because it's actually just more difficult if you're a wheelchair player. You will notice immediately that there's no sweeping in the wheelchair game, and that makes it more difficult to achieve the perfect stone. You're using only your upper body strength, unlike non-wheelchair curlers who are typically using a big leg drive. And once you push your delivery stick, you release the stone. You cannot adjust it, unlike the non-wheelchair curlers. Once you kick out, you have a couple of seconds to adjust your throw, but not so in this game, and that's why the statistics tend to be just a little bit lower for wheelchair curling. But don't let that put you off. That doesn't mean it's not as good of a game. Not at all. We're watching a real corker here. Very close stuff.
Whoa! Whoa, 没事没事，溜。往下甩一点。哇。行，没事。Shoot!
And that's nice. From Yeonjo.
Yeah.
In the second half of this first round robin game, it is China who have the last stone advantage in this fifth end, and they will be desperate to pick up at least 2 points in this end and try and close that gap. If you were watching Olympics a couple of weeks ago, you'll see how difficult it is to close up a gap of 2 points at this level, and particularly difficult in wheelchair curling.
12.5.
As mentioned, we quite often see conservative tactics in wheelchair curling because it's just that little bit tougher to
10.
be perfect.
I got 12-12.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first miss we've really seen from Dennis Thiessen. That stone is hanging on at the back there, but once it's gone beyond the tee line, that horizontal line just in front of Wang Haitao's stick there, once it's gone beyond that line, it's not terribly useful typically for the teams any longer. The team shouting whoa sounds like they think this one's a little bit too fast. So not bad from Zhang Mingliang. You can see why that stone didn't really help Canada, that yellow stone that the ace helper is just moving there. Stones behind the tee are oftentimes just helping the opposition, exactly as it did just there. That Chinese stone was running a little bit too fast, but it ran into that Canadian stone hanging around at the back of the house, the back of the rings. And you can see why that stone really helped China. That previous Canadian stone was a help for China there.
It's a great throw.
Good throw, Dennis.
Just out.
Really well thrown.
They were hoping that stone from Dennis Season would just hang around behind that guard, but first things first, remove that Chinese counter. And China switching things up a bit. Traditionally, if you were trying to score 2 points, the most likely way you will do this, or the tactically what you will often see, you'll see the stones playing away from the centre, but China now playing towards the centre. Rolling that stone to hang on and sneak in behind the guard. Just a little bit shy for a weight, unfortunately. But that stone can still be useful. You can see Canada want to remove that red because that's a dangerous red for them. You could quite easily just come and punch that red back a metre or so, and then it would be nicely tucked in behind cover. So not a terrible result at all for China there. Anna Forrest being asked for a takeout. She's played a lot of hits this game. She does replace that red with a yellow, but actually in this case that's fine, because now that red not available to just punch backwards, and China will have to do it the difficult way. They will have to draw in behind instead. Canada +2 without last stone. China have last stone in the fifth end. That's a nice throw from Chen Yanxin.
Open it up.
So we can see there that, yeah, China persisting a little bit with this slightly different tactic. Oftentimes, if you have last stone, you'll see that team playing away from the centre because they want to keep the centre clear, thinking about their last stone at the end. But China switched it up a bit and decided to play towards the centre before Canada, using those guards, and indeed, now Canada having to remove guards. That's good work again from Ina Forrest. She's not missing much today. Canada have been on the medal podium at every Paralympics since wheelchair curling was introduced in 2006 in Torino. But it was China who got the gold last time. Unlucky there from Chen Yanxin.
What do you see in
this little section of play that this really nicely shows us as well just how difficult it is to get those shots really perfect with wheelchair curling. You could imagine if you had
whatever you're seeing, I'm not
She had two big
I think
boys
hit
sweeping
the
that
sit
stone
there.
from Chen
Yeah, sit
Yanxin.
and
I'm
roll.
sure
Or that,
would have been a
yeah.
great shot. So you can see how much more difficult it is
I
without
like
sweeping.
it. 9.
Okay.
But still, Canada nervous of any Chinese stone out front that you could push back. This is where the tactics at this level may be slightly different between wheelchair curling and non-wheelie.
Throw, John.
And that's good stuff from John Thurston, completely removing that dangerous Chinese shot that they could have simply pushed in behind all that cover on the centre. But now China really committed to playing towards the centre for their final 2 stones, for skip stones here. You can see no sense playing away from the centre. If you would play a stone away from the centre, Canada are just going to sneak around those 2 Canadian guards out front. So this makes sense. Let's just try and get there first. Wang Haitao having a very strong game as usual. There's teammates just holding on to his wheels, make sure he doesn't slip while he's delivering.
头力量还行，掉掉线啊！
And typically your teammates will be timing that stone as well.
掉线走啊！
后期有变。
力量行啊，Go啊 Go Go， 走，
He
再
looks
来点
pretty
儿，
good.
行。
That's a super effort from Wang Haitao. I think Canada can still see that red. And again, you could imagine with
Over, a little over
2
half.
strong sweepers, you could
Like your
imagine
last
them
throw.
carving that stone around the guard and managing to curl it a little bit more.
This rock curls a little more.
Yeah.
Half a rock.
You can see how hard it is to build shots here in wheelchair curling. Final stone for Canada in this 5th end.
Squeezed her a little.
Oh my goodness. There was no daylight at all between John Thurston's throw there, getting around that guard. Look at this, the stone. Oh my goodness, that held its breath. It sounded like Canada were a little bit concerned with that. Yeah, you can see he's not sure if he's thrown that one quite accurately. But gosh, it sneaked around by molecules there. Last stone here in the 5th end for China. Oh, that hasn't connected that one. It's just, I think, that slightly bigger weight from Wang Haitao. You can see he's a huge chap, very powerful, and just that little bit extra weight on that stone meant it didn't quite curl as much, and that's going to be a big steal of 1 point. We say if you score a point without last stone, as Canada have now, they steal 1 point to make the overall score 5-2 to Canada's favour over China.
I with 60.
Good call on 9 is there.
we look at the numbers there, we can see Canada just starting to slip away a little bit from China. China having a couple of mistakes in that 5th end and the 4th end before half-time. And the result is that Canada are leading China going into the 6th end, 5 points to 2.
Yeah, I really like it.
Didn't like that line.
Good rotation.
We're in the 6th end here on day 1 of the Paralympic Winter Games. We are back in the Ice Cube, the National Aquatic Centre, which we have frozen over for this week. It's another fine start from Mark Iverson from Canada. Canada got a nice little cushion there at the moment. Canada are 5 points to 2 ahead. And we're in the 6th end. We only play 8 ends in wheelchair curling, not 10 ends as we do in the men's and ladies. So China running out of ends a little bit to start grabbing these points back. They'll be really wanting to play a good aggressive end here. So good start then from Yuan Zhou needed. And China, they really have to go aggressive from here. They're 3 points behind. We're in the 6th end, and that is exactly what they needed. Is a really nice corner guard. Now, if you're a China fan, you may say, why is that such a good shot? It isn't even in the rings. And that is a very nice shot from Yan, because not only is that away from the centre, which is more likely to win you points when you have last stone, it's also in the free guard zone. The free guard zone is that protected area out front, that white area. That's protected until we throw in 5 stones. Canada not allowed to remove that first shot yet. So if you're a China fan, this is exactly the right tactics for the team. But Canada throwing pretty nicely to try and counter that. 2 really nice stones in the centre there from Canadian skip Mark Iverson. There we can see Yun setting up to throw, and her teammate Zhang Mingliang just holding onto her wheels to make sure she doesn't slip while she's pushing. And again, don't worry, China fans. This is a super shot.
Go.
China roaring that stone into a lovely position. And tactically, that is the right shot, even though that stone was playing away from the centre. What China will be hoping is that they can now start removing Canadian stones from the centre, and hopefully, with very last stone of this end, have a chance to make 2. So that stone just thrown by Yan Zhou. China will be hoping that they can, that will be 2nd point for them. And now they have to set about making the 1st point. But Canada, they will have other ideas. They are quite happy to keep this game playing towards the centre.
Good to pull.
The more stones in the centre, China has to move them. If China wants to score anything, they've got that 2nd point nicely set up on the wings there. But if China wants to score anything, they have to do something about these stones in the centre.
Nice weight, Dennis.
And that's a really nice shot there from Dennis Thiessen. So now you can see that the right side of our screen, lovely stones from the Chinese lead there. Lovely guard, and then drawing in behind it, drawing into the house.
But it was a 14.
But China now have to start cleaning out the centre. Both these teams, really strong hitting teams though. That's a decent result for Zhang Mingliang. He would have loved that red that's now almost on the bumper on the left of our screen. He would have loved that one to just hang around. But he does remove one of the Canadian shots.
Smooth 8.
Hey.
Smooth 8.
Yeah.
You can see your teammate holding the wheels to make sure you don't slip, and you can see that Dennis Thiessen, the left-hander, his right hand, he's holding on to sort of a balancing handle. You'll see a lot of the folks have a little attachment on their wheelchair. Yeah, that's just to keep your shoulders straight, keep you balanced. But if you're a wheelchair user or you have a friend or colleague and you would like to try curling, you absolutely can. You don't need a special wheelchair. You don't need a wheelchair for sport. You don't even need to have a big long stick. The curling club, they will have a delivery stick that you can use.
Give you a little more ice.
And at club level,
9.
you don't need a specialised wheelchair curling club. At club level, everybody plays together. So
wait.
9.
if you're a wheelchair user,
This
don't
one
feel
will
shy.
curl up a bit.
Even if you're the only wheelchair user, you absolutely can go along and join in and play at your local club. Canada, though, starting to turn the screws a little bit in this game. And this will be a big game for both of these teams. As we said, all of the gold medals from wheelchair curling have gone either to China or to Canada.
Beautiful girl.
Lovely shot there from Ina Forrest. She's having a really nice, strong game. And whoever wins this initial round robin encounter,
Really nice girl. Nice positive.
they will take great confidence into the next rounds. We would not be at all surprised if we see a repeat of this game in the semi-final or in the medal matches. And that will be a really nice confidence boost for whichever team gets the point here.
Go! 这稍少点。8秒，往这边甩一下。
这儿还可以。
8秒，这样可以，这样可以。
这边感觉它这种里边
China
有
have last
有
stone
点
in the sixth end, but they are starting to run out of ends a bit. We play 8 ends in wheelchair curling. And they need to get at least 3 points back. If the scores are tied after 8 ends, we will play extra ends to decide it. In Paralympic curling, it's simply a win or a loss. It doesn't matter if you win on the very last stone of an extra end or if you win 7 points to 1. The only thing that matters is you get 1 win or 1 loss.
Got some curling to do.
Yes. Throw line.
Nice again from Ina Forrest.
定了。你看头一个嘞，啊，头一个嘞，行吗？
Yeah, I thought you were nice and positive on it.
China would love to score 2 points in this end, make the score 5-4. And of course Canada trying to do the reverse. So Canada quite happy to just remove stones from play. And if you're China, you could remove that yellow stone. We've seen Chen Yanxin make plenty of really nice takeouts today.
3秒。
That's not what they're going for.
3秒5就行。
我。哦。来了！Go go go go！ 走！走！行。
好像漂亮。
Always fun to watch this Chinese team. They really cheer the stone down the ice, roll it down the
I like
ice.
there. Shouldn't curl as much up the hill here.
Shouldn't?
Shouldn't curl as much up the hill. 9.
And again, if you're a China fan,
9.
if you're a China fan, that was an excellent stone from Chen Yanxin.
我看好像
If China are going to score 2, they need a mistake from Canada. So by hiding this red stone in behind that guard, in front of the rings there, they're hoping that when Canada tries to play, maybe they'll just
the jam here.
clip that guard instead.
I guess if we get the jam, we're 2 in the rings.
You can see that stone about half buried behind that guard, the red one on the right of our screen. And China hoping that it's hidden enough that Canada will make a little mistake and they might just catch that guard. And then China are in a strong position to make 2 points. So that's why that was a really good stone from Chen Yanxin. Big throw from John Thurston. Sounded like everybody was happy with that as he released it, and indeed. Removes the Chinese counter, but does roll out himself, so China will have a chance to do something similar.
don't know where rocks.
And the idea will be the same. There you can see John Thurston making it around that guard, no problem at all. So China will want to do something similar. They would love to get this stone tucked in further behind that guard. They're really, both fourth throwers actually, having a really nice game. Wang Haitao was just started to play a couple of loose shots just in the fourth and fifth end. He'll be wanting to tighten that up. His team would love a really nice shot from him now. Same idea as before.
我瞅力量，行，来了哥，来了，掉点下，我多少秒？11秒7。
Oh, that one not stopping. It can be the case when you've been playing a lot of takeouts.
Yeah.
It can be,
What do you think for
as Wang Haitao has been playing, it can be
12.75.
tough to adjust
Like it.
and bring that weight all the way down.
Throw, John.
Last stone for Canada in the sixth end.
Hot.
11-7.
I got 12.
This is coming in a little bit chunky as well.
Ah.
Oh, that's just going to slip through. I don't think that will change what China needs to do here, though.
11.72. But Wang had 2.
You can see how difficult it is to
So it must be like that.
really build points in the wheelchair curling game. Well, let's see what China do here. Last stone in the sixth end.
逆势。
And one Chinese point. Nice shot there. Back to good form there for Wang Haitao. And important to steady the ship and get another point on the board for China. The other possibility was a blank end, but not so easy to pick up points in wheelchair curling. And we can see that addition of 1 point there. That means that Canada now lead China by 5 points to 3 after sixth end.
So safe ending.
Important score of 1 point there for China, bringing the overall score 5 points to 3. Canada lead China. Canada still a little bit ahead in the numbers, as we've seen. Just a little bit more accurate than China. And the overall score after 6 ends, 5 points to 3. Canada lead China going into the 7th end. Right, 7th end here on day 1 at the Paralympic Winter Games. We're in the Ice Cube, the repurposed National Aquatic Centre. We've frozen all the water so that we can play wheelchair curling for this week. And host nation China, they need to go all out aggressive. They're still 2 points behind, and we've only got 2 ends left to play. We play 8 ends here in wheelchair curling. We're in the 7th end. China are 2 points behind Canada. And we see a nice aggressive start there from China. So they've put a guard out front. That's in the free guard zone. Canada not allowed to remove it yet. So Canada indeed just ignoring that guard played from China. There it is. Really nice tone from China, and Canada going nowhere near it. I think that stone was ideally going to be in the house, in the rings. But I've also found a decent spot there. Canada have last stone in the 7th end. And even if Canada just score 1, remember we said that typically if you have last stone, scoring 1 is a little bit like the default, but Canada already have that cushion. They're plus 2 points already. So scoring 1 here with the last stone, that would be fine for Canada. Then that would give them a cushion of 3 points. They would be 6-3 ahead going into the last stone, and that would make life very, very difficult for China. So we may see Canada doing what we call playing the scoreboard a bit here. Normally with last stones, you would see the team playing quite aggressively, trying to keep stones in play, trying to generate 2 points, trying to get a mistake from the opposition to give them a chance to score 2. But Canada doesn't need to take risks here. They're already plus 2 points. We're getting towards the end of the game, so we may just see Canada focusing on trying to get 1 point here. But China giving themselves a good chance to try to steal a point. That means to steal a point if you score a point, even though you don't have last stone. And lead thrower for China, Yan Zhou, doing a very nice job. You can see both of her stones will just be coming into screen. There we are, 2 really nice red guards there. And that stone from Canada, that was supposed to be a little bit further along, further in towards the rings, towards the centre. And that could be the mistake from Canada that China needed. Now they can try to use those 2 red guards and that additional yellow out front. And if they could get behind the back of everything here, close to the centre, that would put a lot of pressure on Canada. Big difference between China scoring 1 point here to make the score 5-4. And if Canada score 1 point, make the score 6-3, that's a huge difference.
是不是为了加转领的呀？
That stone not hanging around though. And now Canada will not give you the chance to have all those guards again.
Smooth 8.
If you're a Canada fan, you may say to yourself, this is a funny shot. Why don't they just go around all those guards and have a nice safe shot in behind everything on the tee line? And to some extent, viewer, you would be correct. But as we said, Canada don't need to take risks, actually. That would be a riskier shot. If Canada would have instead played a draw weight, so a stone that's supposed to land in the house, in the rings, that would be higher risk because those guards would still be there. And if China could ever get to that Canadian stone behind guards, then Canada would be in big trouble. So it's easier for Canada to just remove stones. Don't give China stones to hide behind. And China needs to start nailing a couple of shots here. I'm sure that Zhang Mingliang will have adjusted. His first shot was a little bit heavy. This looks better for weight.
Sorry.
But actually he's over-adjusted. And that stone coming up short. But that's the kind of stone where we would say better short than long. You can see if the stone was too long, if the stone was too heavy and it went through the rings as his first one did, then we can't use it anymore. But that stone is not perfect. Perfect would have been right in the middle of the rings behind those guard shots. That was perfect. But for plan B, we can see that that gives us a second guard. And that's found a decent spot as well. But that's something to think about if you're learning curling or if you're playing at the club. It can be helpful to just have in mind, what's plan B? Are you better, if you're going to miss, is it better to be a little bit short or a little bit long? Or is it better to be a little bit left or right of the brush? So you can see that that stone did end up helping China. Dennis Thiessen wasn't able to remove both of the guards, and China still have a centre guard to play with. China don't have last stone, and that's why the best chance of them scoring a point here, they would be stealing a point. That means scoring without last stone. Their best chance to steal a point here is a stone right in the middle with a nice guard right in line with the out front. And I think the same thing's going to happen here. Indeed. So that makes another guard. But again, that stone was no use. If that had gone too far, that would be no use. But we can see that at third position there, Anna Forrest having a really strong game out there.
I think just back 8.
Yeah.
Setting up the ends really well for Canada. And now that yellow has become more of a danger.
Timeout.
Canada calling a timeout. So they have a couple of choices here. As we say, Canada have last stone. They don't need to take risks.
I think we should have both sides.
So one choice would be to just continue their tactic of removing stones.
Yeah, well, I think we play this.
But
both sides.
this is also set up quite nicely for Canada to really twist the knife a bit and try and get a stone in before China.
The other way too, like
The other way could
Let's
be
see what
good.
they think.
It's just line right up, right?
It's line or right up, but if we can get
Red on
to center,
red.
we can get to
I see what you mean.
Just saying, red line right up.
yeah, but if we can get to center, they gotta come either on the inside of that one.
Are they? They're almost touching.
There's not much room, so
I wonder if we overbear it though.
Yeah.
Like, provided we at least get a quarter rock on center line.
Yeah.
It's not sticking around if we're running back, right? They'd have to hit our yellow.
Yeah.
If we're feeling comfortable with the ice. I'm just thinking you leave this side for us still.
Yeah.
Here's Canadian coach Mick Lismore for the timeout.
come around, but that's obviously lined right up.
Yeah, I wondered if it dragged into it if you played the high side peel, like
High side peel.
Ina's entry,
Okay.
to get rid of all three.
Okay.
Might be there. The other option's the drop on this side. I think we leave that where it is. It's in a pretty good spot. It's usable. Might be able to split it later, but like it's either this draw or this peel.
You think the 2 rock goes? The top one?
You have to hit it thin. You're maybe not getting it right out, but getting it out of that 4-foot area. My first instinct is to play the drop with the Ina's entry.
I like it. And then if we can get to center, we're in pretty good shape.
It's really good. Yeah, really good.
Okay.
This Ina's first drop.
Yeah.
So just a bit further, or do you want to throw the other one? Which one have you drawn with?
I didn't find the draws were that bad with it, but at least for them it will.
Just be mindful of what rock you're throwing, and you can throw either one.
Make sure I get out there.
Okay.
So 1275.
Yeah. I like it.
Short's better.
So timeout concluded.
Like, I mean, high.
Yeah. Top 8 bullseye.
We
Yeah,
could hear the Canadian team
through, so it's kind of like hanging.
discussing both the options. They're wondering if they would hit those 2 reds, if they would hit it on the left side of the first red as we're looking at it now, would the second red squirt over the centre line and remove that yellow? We were a bit concerned about that, so their other idea is simply to get to the centre first before China. Typically, you would not see the team with last stone doing this, because if you throw a stone even right in the centre, then China could follow it in and really close down the scoring area, make it very hard for you to get 2 points. But as we said, Canada don't need 2 points in this end. Canada will be quite content to score 1 point, even though they have last stone. And that's why this is a good idea. This is good tactics at this stage in the game, and with the score the way it is.
Just hanging out there though.
This has a little bit to curl.
12?
But it's not bad. That's rolled on a little bit from Ina Forrest. You can see there's still space in front of it for China still. That's why everything in wheelchair curling, and aggressive stone in wheelchair curling is even more aggressive than in non-wheelchair, because it's that bit more difficult. The Chinese team roaring that stone all the way, but from our angle at least, it looks like that stone of Canada is still closer to the middle for now.
You like 13? 13 and a quarter? Top ring, 13. That was 13 and a quarter I had.
I had 12.
I like that time.
Canada then have another chance with Ina Forrest's second stone. She'll make a little adjustment. Her first stone, there's a nice angle. Her first stone's that one just at the back on the right of our screen. She'll want to play just a little bit less than that.
Yeah, nice line.
Good to good, eh?
This looks nice from Ina Forrest. I think she's made that adjustment nicely. That is exactly the stone they were looking for from her. Great stone from Ina Forrest. Look at that. Beautifully in behind both of those reds up front. So I don't think China will see much of that stone just thrown by Ina Forrest. And it's right on the T line, that horizontal line. You can see how much it curls. Here it is curling towards the centre line. Just grabbing the T line. Just grabbing the edge of the logo there. That's the Paralympic logo. This is a very difficult shot for China.
现在这红，我这红这给挡住了。
I wouldn't be surprised if China maybe use their timeout as well. Big difference between a score of 1 to Canada to make the score 6-3 and a score of 1 to China, which would make the score 5-4. Huge difference there, and indeed China have called their timeout, and their coach Yu Qing-shuang will be on her way for guidance.
坐在上面脚，然后下巴冲它就行。
拿那个黄。
不是，你先，咱们先往这边他刚投这个嘛，你先旋跟他一个，啊，然后坐上面脚就可以，然后下巴不行的话冲他，就是你先往上粘一个，哪怕你留着在红球外侧一点，下巴那个上面那2颗红的都能用。
那红的一打那个
啊不，这个碰不上的话你先坐着，不行的话，然后咱这边也能穿，这边也能穿，至少有这个角，行不行？先跟一个往上，就是停在4、5区都可以。 只要把球留着坐在上面就行，
放点点往外放。
对，别完全藏死啊！你一定要往外放一点，留在这个弧的1半的这个位置就行，就这大概这个角就可以，行不行？
能不能打个
行了，咱先拿黄的转红的一下子呢，再转黄的呢，然后那边有个自然角。
我觉得你先跟一个，这样的话是2个点，2个点，加油啊！
加油！
全是黄的了。
实在不行就粘到这个，是不是？加油！
我就奔13秒来。
Timeout finished.
13秒肯定没问题。
You'd have heard Chinese team not only discussing this stone, but they know there are 4 stones left. There are 2 for China, 2 for Canada, Canada with the last stone. So China would not only have been discussing what do we need to do with this stone, they will have really tried to play the end through in their heads to see if we do this, Canada has to try this shot. And then if we do this shot, Canada has to play like this. So you'll often hear the team discussing not only the shot that's coming, they're always thinking towards the conclusion of the end, towards last stone.
下了没问题啊。哇
Important shot here for
来了个哇
Untitled.
哇 行啊，11秒6。
Just a little bit too heavy there. You could hear Vice Skip Chen Yanxin shouting "Whoa, whoa," trying to encourage the stone to catch some curl. So Canada in a very strong position now.
Top ring, tight, fine.
Okay.
Normally with last stone, we wouldn't see teams playing towards the centre. We wouldn't really see them want to play a centre guard.
Marks were that came right to the front.
Because as you can see, that can make it quite difficult to score more than 1 point. And typically if you have last stone, you rather score more than 1 point, but Canada +2 already on the scoreboard. And we're in the 7th of 8 ends, so this is absolutely the right shot. Delicate shot here for John Thurston, 4th thrower for Canada. He's had a lot of big shots, big takeouts. But he's a pretty accurate thrower.
13-25.
He's having the most accurate game of anyone on the ice today.
Holy.
I can only apologise to John Thurston that commentator cursed him.
13-25. You got way better rocks than I got.
That just slipped on a bit further than he was wanting. He looks a bit surprised there himself. China then have one final chance to make a good shot here with Wang Haitai's final stone. And oh boy, could this make a difference to the overall game?
然后你就冲一分，投一个。
不能打了吧？
扣一分，快点。
选一个吧，后背。
慢一点就行。
China will be very well aware of the difference between managing to score a point here and giving up a point at this stage in the game.
罚定偏了一点儿。
行，行，对，加油！
I do like those nice flag decorations on the Chinese players' wheels there.
掉线。
Now we can see during the Chinese timeout that these stones are pretty much in a lovely straight line. That yellow, squirt it back to the red, and then that squirts back to the yellow. And then all of a sudden you have a red stone right in the middle, behind cover.
要不这么悬一个呢？转好不太好。
你自己决定这么着，反正就是冒险点。
Difficult shot for Wang Haitao, but
这边悬的空可以吧
I think he's right to try this.
现在有时间，现在有时间，现在有时间，我觉得稍微慢点。
If the score goes to 6-3,
就打完又赶。
very difficult for China to score 3 in that 8th end.
你要是这么选一个，不行可甩头坐在那巴西头上。
这么悬一个吧。
不行，那头甩过来坐他巴西头上控制。
啊。
13秒，就往他那个顶上粘。
This is the other choice, is to try the same kind of shot he tried last time.
上8点吗？上8点行。好嘞。
Just try and punch that yellow through. I think either way, this is a bit of a game-changing shot.
那么转不成，直接就废了。 下了没问题啊？
力量没问题。
问题就来了。Go go go！
Hurry! Hurry! Hurry!
Oh.
3秒5啊。
And that stone catching quite a lot of curly, but maybe over-adjusted a little bit as his first stone was a little bit too heavy. Didn't manage to curl, and that was the risk. But either way, whichever shot he chose, Wang, whether he had gone for this shot, the shot he just played, and just try to gently...
Like I like 13. I like that. Same as that, though.
That same weight?
Yeah.
Okay.
If Wang had just gently bumped that
Yeah,
Canadian
it
stone
seemed to
through.
carry nice.
Yeah.
Or if he had made that big yellow onto... No,
You
red
can be
onto
nice
yellow
and
onto red.
positive here.
Okay.
Either way, that was a shot to save the game, really. Otherwise, I think this game is getting a bit too far away from China. John Thurston then has a chance for a second score of 3 in this game for Canada. And that would really put the game just about out of reach for China. He needs to stop in the 8 foot in the white circle.
He's got a good ride out there.
Not quite, but it's still 2 points for Canada. And as we said, if Canada score anything in this 7th end, they're looking good for the 8th end, and indeed that confirms we have an overall score of 7 points to Canada, 3 points to China after the 7th end. There's the overall game summary for our featured game here, China against Canada. You can see the numbers being pretty steady. Canada just out shooting China a little bit, and the result of that is a score of 7 points to 3. Canada lead China going into the 8th and final end.
But I was getting fooled like my first. Sorry.
That's okay.
First stone of the 8th end for Canadian skip and lead thrower Mark Iverson. He's had a strong game. He's been setting up the ends really well for Canada today.
Nice weight, Marco.
This Canadian team finished first in the round robin in 2018 in Pyeongchang. Then lost out to China in the semi-final. And they will be very happy with how this outing is going. China, they have last stone in this 8th end and they need it. China need to score 4 points just to take this game to an extra end. Big ask for China here. They're going to have to dig deep.
好。
15秒5。
好。
And that's exactly the right start again from Yan Zhou. Again, if you're a Chinese fan, that's exactly the right shot. China have the best chance of getting a mistake from Canada, getting some extra points, if they start hiding stones behind those corner guards. And that's what you would call a throw through from Canada. That wasn't a mistake from Mark Iverson. He didn't suddenly have a rush of blood to the head and throw too fast. He did that on purpose because any stone in play really only helps China. Any stone in play, China can put their stone right next to it and try to give it a bit of protection. So Canada, quite happy. They just have one stone close to the middle. And Canada doesn't need any other stones in play. It's up to China to try to build stones. And that's a delightful shot from Yan Zhou. She's had a really nice game for China. She's given her team the best chance she can to grab those points back in the 8th end.
Yeah, right through. But we can't really get there. We just tossed another one. Hey.
That's the Canadian signal for board weight, which translates to barrier weight if you're Scottish, and slow takeout if you're anyone else. And we're seeing exactly the same thing here. This isn't a mistake from Canada. They're deliberately throwing it fast and throwing it all the way through because they feel that whatever else they do can really only help China. Remember, those two Chinese guards, beautifully played from Yan Zhou, pardon me. Those two reds at the top of our picture. Canada not allowed to remove those Chinese stones yet. They're still protected by free guard zone. And that's really the only shot Canada wants to play is to try to remove those guards. That's the only stones that are dangerous to them. But Canada not allowed to do that just now, and any other stone would simply be helpful possibly to China. And that's why Canada have just, we call it putting two stones through the back. They're just throwing them through.
Whoa!
我啥呀？来3区。
Hurry! 15秒2啊！
给他点哈。
行。
那条线你点。
That's fine from China. Didn't go quite as far as they wanted. I think, again, they wanted that one into the house, into the rings. But better short than long. It's no use if it's already through the back. And a third guard, that could be something they can use later. But now, we have played 5 stones.
8.
Smooth 8.
And that means Canada can start removing guards. Free guard zone is over. And Canada can start now removing these stones from play. like everyone's happy with it. And he's certainly cleared the clockwise handle.
Sure.
But he has left that yellow stone. It just rolled over and bumped into those reds, and now there's a little cluster of guards that China can use.
That one did not have made in it.
和平，这么悬吗？整着好悬吗？不好过吧？
啊，
不太好过吧？
先挂分啊！
没挂分，5个糊了。
剩5个了。
Remember, China need 4 points in this 8th end just to keep the game going.
你来没事。
你先往这么来，
Every stone
后
critical
续也
from
行，
here.
粘上也行啊。
这样也可以。
好嘞。
进营就行了。
走3关就可以。
嗯呐。
粘上行吗？
对，
粘也行。
行，粘也行，再打下去。哦，没下表。
Looking for a nice strong finish here from Zhang Mingliang.
过去呀。
Go 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 Harry！
Harry，量应该是够的。
Go go go！ 13.6。哇！
这样也行，也行，可以。
行。
Rolling that stone along, and that's found a decent spot. Not so easy for Canada to remove that red cleanly.
这样也行。
It's right next to that yellow.
We're one.
And the danger is, if Canada want to try to remove that Chinese stone, they might just end up removing their own by mistake.
Yeah, yeah.
And indeed, yeah, they're not even looking at removing that red,
Back button, back
because
4.
it's really dangerous to just jam into that yellow. Yellow would be gone and red would hang around, and that's why Canada doing different tactic, just go around the back of everything. Not a perfect stone from Zhang Mingliang, but you can see how it could be dangerous later.
Top 8's better than through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There, Mark Iverson just communicating to Anna Forrest what would be plan B. He says better top 8 than through. That means it's better a little bit shorter, more in the front of the house rather than going all the way through the house. So it is a little bit shorter. And that's found a nice spot though. That takes away that danger of that Chinese stone. You can see that that guard from Ina Forrest makes that shot a lot harder. If you now want to use that red stone that China has in the front ring to try to bump that yellow through, you have to do yellow onto red instead of playing directly. So that actually found a nice spot from Ina Forrest. And now it's China's turn to try and go around the back of all of them.
13秒8 ，Go Harry！
好，
行。
Doesn't get around the back, but again, you can see that's a red stone that we could push into the rings later. And Canada will see that too. They will be nervous of that red stone.
Yeah. I think it's holding enough.
But it's still dangerous to hit that red
13,
just thrown by China.
Yeah.
1275.
Too many stones behind it to just catch it and keep things in play.
Yeah, just need to be first or second.
Yeah.
Broke their long ways too, eh?
Yeah.
Got it on.
Last stone in this 8th end for Ina Forrest, vice skip for Canada. She has represented Canada at every Paralympic Winter Games, apart from the first time we had wheelchair curling in 2006. And this looks better.
Good shot, Ina.
Well, I think Ina Forrest may have just about finished that all by herself with that stone.
5 for that one.
You betcha.
Good draw.
But this Chinese team are tenacious.
12秒5。
行，
加油！
加油。
12秒3丝都行。
好嘞。
12秒5，12秒。
行。
后磕。
every one of these Chinese stones then needs to count at the end. China needing 4 points to take this game to extra end.
现在主要目的得让它活出去，打冷。
Ina Forrest with that
往前
beautiful
面表达下力
draw
来，
right
江
to
哥
the
咬
centre.
住，
有限，
来了，Harry 走
What a great try from Chen Yanxin. Very difficult shot. You can see what they were aiming for. And you can imagine how difficult such a shot is. When you don't have anyone sweeping your stone, if you'd had two big boys sweeping that stone, it would have been absolutely perfect. Super try from Chen there. But level of difficulty for China's shots in this 8th end. Very spectacular. China needing 4 points to take this to an extra end. So really all of their stones are going to be very high level of difficulty. Whereas Canada, what they're doing is, we call it, they want to run China out of stones. So they just want to keep removing stones until there are no more stones to play. That's one of them gone.
Good game. Good game. Good luck. Good luck.
And indeed, that sounds like China now, there we are, that's offering the game. Not enough stones for China to continue. They needed 4 points, only 3 stones possible to count. So China saying, we concede the game, and congratulating Canada. Really strong start there from Canada.
Good start again. Good start.
Smiles all round for them. There's the final score then. We don't need to count the 8th end, so that's why there's an X. The final score in this day 1 round robin match between Canada and China. That is 7 points to Canada, 3 to China.
Oh.
I hope China are not too disappointed. I don't think they were playing particularly badly. I think Canada just really warmed up in that game. They had a couple of loose shots in the first couple of ends, but nothing much else. They really came into their game, and everybody throwing very accurately. Certainly, particularly in the second half of that game, they didn't really let China get back into that game. So China will be looking to just tighten up a little bit on a few loose shots there, but Canada, I think they'll be pretty happy with how they threw out there. They'll be wanting to continue that. Final score then in the wheelchair curling here at Paralympic Winter Games. Canada 7, China 3. So how does that affect the standings then? We have 4 games out there. 1 game is still going. And China, very early days. No wins, 1 loss, but very early days yet. And we can see that from the numbers as well. The numbers were pretty even for the first couple of ends, and then Canada just started to slip away a little bit from China and really just didn't let China back into the game. China playing the right stones, setting up the ends nicely, but Canada just really cancelling that out. So I hope our fans aren't too disappointed. I think their team played pretty well. Those are our local Chinese fans, no foreign fans at these games. But we've had a lot of fans in the curling at Olympics a couple of weeks ago. And a good amount of fans today for this initial round. So an exciting first encounter then in this first round robin session on day 1. We're back at the Ice Cube for wheelchair curling in the Paralympic Winter Games. China, last time's gold medalists, versus Canada, every other time's gold medalist. And what a treat we had today. That was a super start by both teams. Canada just taking a little bit longer to get used to the ice, and China maybe having the advantage in the first few ends, but then Canada really finding their rhythm, really getting into their game, and Canada putting a big 3 on the board just before half-time and never really letting China back into that game. China working hard, trying to set up the ends, playing good shots, but Canada just staying just that couple of points ahead for their first win on the board. With plenty more curling to come. Join us again.